Buongiorno, good morning, or good afternoon, you decide. As you know, I am Marco Ruggiero, and today I want to talk to you about the ketogenic diet, or nutritional ketosis if you prefer, but from a completely different perspective from the one most people know. Let's start far back in 1989. The so-called Warburg effect had already been known for a long time. This effect is known because cancer cells can use only sugar as an energy source, unlike healthy cells, which can also use ketone bodies, which, by the way, are denser in energy. In our laboratory of molecular biology, however, we discovered that sugar, glucose to be precise, does something far worse than simply feeding cancer cells. We found that glucose is converted into a molecule that is called diacylglycerol, which in turn activates an enzyme that is called protein kinase C. And this is the very same enzyme that is activated by chemical substances that promote tumor growth. Another step back. For cancer to take hold, grow, and form metastasis, two events must occur in a precise sequence. The first event is a DNA mutation, which must then necessarily be followed by the action of a substance that is called a tumor promoter. DNA mutations are caused by an endless variety of factors. Chemical substances, as we all know, for example, those in tobacco smoke or atmospheric pollutants and so on, radiations, and even intrinsic errors in the biology of DNA. They happen every day, no matter how careful we are. In most cases, however, they are repaired automatically, and even when they are not repaired, by themselves they do not cause cancer. Statistically, in any given moment, we all have cells carrying mutations in our body since when we were born. And this is not a problem unless a tumor promoter acts on mutated cell. In fact, cancer establishes itself only when a tumor promoter acts on a cell that has already undergone a mutation. And also tumor promoters are many and of different natures, but they all act through a single mechanism, the activation of that enzyme that I mentioned earlier, protein kinase C. So what we discovered in our laboratory is that when sugar is given to a cell that has already suffered the mutation, it does not merely provide energy, something that was already known, but far more importantly and far more dangerously, it is transformed into a molecule that functions as a tumor promoter. And worse still, it is a tumor promoter produced inside the mutated cell itself. And if that were not enough, activation of this enzyme, the protein kinase C, makes the tumor cells resistant to anti-cancer therapies, such as radiotherapy or chemotherapy. In practice, in 1989, we discovered that the ketogenic diet plays a fundamental role in an integrated and nutritional approach to cancer therapy, not so much because it deprives cancer cells of their main energy source, but because it reduces or eliminates the formation of an endogenous tumor promoter that, among other things, also causes resistance to therapy. Our 1989 work was published in a specialized journal, but the zeitgeist, the spirit of the time in German, was not yet ready, and its results were appreciated and shared by only a few specialists. Today, however, the time is right. The role of the ketogenic diet in the approach to cancer and to many other conditions is accepted and shared by the scientific community. And in these very days, a scientific article of mine is about to be published that revisits those discoveries that we could call prescient in the light of the current knowledge. In this context, our nutritional approach with the Bravo products, all of which are fully compatible with a ketogenic diet, fits perfectly as an indispensable complement. We know that it supports the intestinal barrier, reduces systemic inflammation, fosters a balanced microbiome, and improves the metabolic and immune tolerance of ketosis, thereby transforming a carbohydrate restriction from simple energy deprivation into an integrated strategy of oncological support. I thank you all for your attention, and as always, I remain at your disposal for any questions or curiosities you may have. Just send me an email and I will reply promptly.